Alrighty, y'all. Welcome back to Cameron's Corner, Utah Real Estate Insights, episode number 8. I'm Cameron Hecking, your Utah County real estate guide, and we've got an awesome episode here for you. Today's episode is going to be packed with important updates. We're going to be talking about a shift in buyer sentiment and confidence, according to Fannie Mae. We're going to talk about a big move in mortgage rates over the past week and what it could mean for you. You're not going to want to miss this because this is awesome. And then we're also going to talk about a massive economic announcement that could have a huge long-term impact on Utah's housing market. You might have seen this update, and I want to dig into it. Plus, EDGEHomes just launched what I think is the best affordability deal of the summer. It's an extension of the deal that they had going on, but there's a lot more that goes into it, and I'm excited to talk about that. I want to tell you exactly how you're going to be able to save tens of thousands of dollars on your next home if you take advantage of this deal. So with that being said, let's get into it. According to Fannie Mae's July 2025 Home Purchase Sentiment Index, or the HPSI is how we'll be referencing that, more people are starting to believe that now is a good time to buy a home. 41% of respondents said it's a good time to buy. That's the highest that we have seen since 2021, which is huge. The overall sentiment index rose again, hitting 72.7, up from 71.8 in June. So why does this matter to you here in Utah, you listening to the podcast? This shift in sentiment is a signal that buyers are getting used to today's market realities, especially with rates hovering in the sixes. People are realizing that waiting for perfect conditions might mean missing out altogether. In Utah County, we're already seeing signs of this locally. Homes under $550,000 are starting to get more activity, and good listings aren't sitting quite as long. If this trend continues, buyers could see increased competition heading into the fall. This is also important for sellers to note. If you've been hesitant to list your home, this kind of consumer sentiment shift is what often precedes stronger buyer activity. So, on either end of this coin, this is huge news. All right, next up, I want to talk about mortgages, probably the hottest topic in real estate. Mortgage rates have been on the move, and for once, it's actually in the direction that buyers like to see. According to Freddie Mac, the average 30-year fixed rate is now sitting at 6.55%, the lowest we've seen in the past 10 months. This is huge. So the reason for this dip, first off, I want to point out, this was not random. This is why it happened. We saw a weaker job report that kind of shook the market a bit. The bond yields also dropped. And so you take those two things together, and that caused for mortgage rates to follow in that dropping trajectory. However, I want to point out this isn't a trend shift, it's a reaction, which means the dip may be temporary. So the reason that this is important for buyers and sellers here in Utah, even though the headlines will say rates are down, the reality is that they're still fluctuating day to day, and that volatility matters. In a market like Utah's, where affordability is already tight, a swing in even 0.5% can change a buyer's monthly payment by hundreds of dollars. Here's an example. If you're buying a $475,000 townhome with 5% down, at 6.55%, so what rates are sitting at right now, your monthly principal and interest is around $2,770 a month. At, let's say, a 7.25% interest rate, that jumps to nearly $3,150. That's about a $380 a month swing. The difference between qualifying comfortably and stretching your budget to the limit. For buyers, this means acting quickly when rates dip and locking them in. For sellers, It means being prepared for more buyer activity when rates hit lower points. And for everyone, it underscores the value of working with a lender who monitors rates daily and can move fast when opportunity strikes. As a realtor, I also monitor rates. That's something that's very important to me, but I am not a lending professional. That's why it's important that I have a great relationship with lenders who are professionals, who keep their finger on the pulse, and who are able to give the best financial advice when it comes to buying a home. If you need to get connected to a lender, I have great resources for you and would love to get you in contact with some great people. All right, so for this next story, this is something that just broke. That was major headlines. You probably saw a ton of people posting about it, especially if you're following some realtors or really anybody in the news or financial space. But Apple just announced that it's increasing its U.S. investment commitment to $600 billion. And guess what? Utah is one of the states that will benefit directly. Apple is already has infrastructure in Utah, and this new wave of investment includes expansion in data centers, AI research, cloud storage, and semiconductor capacity. While not every dollar comes here, Utah's tech corridor, especially in Lehi and the Silicon Slopes area, is positioned to benefit. So let's liken this to us. Why does this matter here for people who live in Utah, people buying and selling real estate in Utah? This kind of corporate investment is a magnet for talent. And where jobs go, housing demand follows. We're already seeing high-paying tech jobs impact home prices in Lehi, Saratoga Springs, and Draper. If Apple increases its footprint here, it could mean more relocation buyers entering the market, more demand for rentals and new construction, and more long-term equity potential for homeowners. For investors, this is a green flag. And for first-time homebuyers, this might be the push to act sooner before prices climb in anticipation of increased demand. So those are the stories. That's the scoop this week as far as news going on in the real estate related world. But next, I want to hop into the deal of the week. And this week's deal of the week is the best of the summer, and it's coming from EDGEHomes. We talked about this a couple weeks ago, but this is something that they're extending. They've just announced that their summer blowout sale is now open to all properties that close before September 30th. This includes condos, townhomes, and single-family homes, and it is in locations as listed: Harriman, Riverton, Lehi, Saratoga Springs, Eagle Mountain, and Mapleton. And here is why this is so huge. First, you're getting a fixed rate of 5.49%. In a market where rates are jumping all over the place, locking in something this low is a huge win for monthly affordability, because honestly, I don't see the natural rate getting to this 5.5% rate anytime soon. I don't expect that we see that within the next year. The second perk to this blowout sale is a 9% seller paid concessions. And what does that mean? On a $450,000 townhome in Mapleton, for example, that's $40,500 back to you. And what does that mean? It sounds like a big number, but how do you use it and what does it apply to? You can use this money to lower the price of the home. So now it's just a $400,000 home or $410,000 home with a 5.5% interest rate. You can use it to finish a basement. You can prepay HOA dues, taking away a couple $100 a month on your payments. You could also use this to just cover a big chunk of your closing costs. That's game changing for first-time homebuyers, move-up buyers, and even investors looking to improve cash flow. For investors, they're not going to give you that interest rate, but they're going to give you 11% to mess with. So that's huge. That's an awesome awesome opportunity for literally anybody who's looking to purchase a home. If you want more information or to see if there's a property in one of these communities that's a fit for you, just call or text me at 385-232-0980 or DM me on Instagram at CameronHecking.re. Thanks for tuning in to episode 8 of Cameron's Corner. I hope today's update gave you a clear picture of what's happening in the market and how it impacts you here in Utah. If you have any questions about buying, selling, or investing, or if you want more details about that EDGEHomes deal, reach out to me directly. Once again, my number is 385-232-0980, or you can reach out to me on Instagram at CameronHecking.re. And if you like what you hear today, send me your email and I'll add you to my weekly newsletter. It's full of market updates, local insights, and exclusive deals you won't see anywhere else. That's all I've got for you this week. Once again, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you next week on another episode of Cameron's Corner.